The future of Battle Royale games is uncertain. Some would say it's a fad, some say it's here to stay, and some say it's been around for years. In what direction is it going? Could we see it disappear as quickly as it arrived on our Twitch streams? Who knows, but if I had to guess, the Battle Royale genre is on its way to becoming one of the most popular gaming genres of all time. What we're seeing now is just the beginning of what could be a huge shift in the gaming industry, so sit back, relax, and let's discuss the future of Battle Royale. I'd like to start with where it all began, but still nobody is certain where that was exactly. Some say Pubg kicked it all off, some say Minecraft players invented it, and some say it goes further back into the 90s with games like Worms and Mario Kart 64. To be honest, it's hard to put your finger on what actually started this trend, but what we do know is the evolution into what we now know as Battle Royale was slow, and if anything, it took inspiration from a huge number of games, movies, and books over decades.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Developers would study gamers to see what they enjoyed and what they wanted from a game. Small comments like, the map is too compact, it needs more players, and I hate waiting in the lobby would trigger new ideas for these talented developers and in turn help them come up with a new game mode that they didn't know at the time would be a cultural phenomenon.
Him and Marshmallow come out on top.
A great way for developers to learn from their audience was allowing players to create private servers and custom games as they please. This allowed developers to see what was popular and how gamers enjoyed playing certain custom modes. For example, Minecraft players created Battle Royale modes, Counter-Strike players invented surf maps which only allowed one winner, and even movies such as Hunger Games and a Japanese Battle Royale movie from 2000 helped these developers brainstorm ideas for this new genre. Think of it as a collection of mass data over many years and then all smashed into a game mode that somehow players absolutely loved, even if it did have a rough start.
Green, get outside!
It wasn't until early 2017 when Battle Royale became somewhat official, and I say that in quotes because half of them are still in damn beta, which I'd like to point out is complete bollocks. They use this basically as an excuse to cover up their mistakes. Oh, your servers went down? Sorry mate, beta. Ah! And credit where credit is due, Pubg was one of the games that put Battle Royale on the map. I know, it has a mixed community and different people have different opinions, but I'll be honest, it's a great game. PC gamers flocked to it like it was a rare drop in World of Warcraft, it was smashing Steam records, and millions of players started to watch it on Twitch. It was a complete success on PC.
We know he's known for it. No connection yet, though. Nice one from Hayes. Oh, maybe he can do this.
But what about console players? Well, PUBG's in beta, mate. Sorry. So players had to wait a year to get it on Xbox. Hell, PlayStation gamers had to wait even longer. Many obliged, and like me, I was ready to wait it out. Many months passed and still players were excited to get their hands on it, waiting to squad up with their teammates. When all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a catastrophic nuke called Fortnite dropped, and well, we hate to say it, PUBG got well and truly chicken dinner. A publishing division from China known as Tencent Games took a look at Fortnite, bought a portion of Epic Games, and then told them to get their ass in gear and make a Battle Royale mode. If I had any guesses how the meeting went, I can imagine it went a bit like, copy PUBG, make it better, and screw it, make it free. Which is confusing as they own 10% of Bluehole, who actually developed PUBG, so you can imagine the anger in future meetings when Fortnite actually kicked off. Eesh. And well, it worked. Big time. After the launch and success of Fortnite in 2018, Tencent Games became the largest video company in the world. That's right, and you've probably never heard of them before this. Pretty crazy, I know. And now we are here, the end of 2018, Fortnite is completely crushing it. Other large games such as Call of Duty, Battlefield and more are taking advantage of the Battle Royale trend, and millions are being spent on keeping these games updated regularly to keep hold of their player base from other competitors.
Oh, so many players in one box. What? Everyone was there! And the game's over!
This moves me on to the future of Battle Royale, where I personally think it will head and what it means for the gaming industry as a whole. And everything coming up is purely my opinion, none of it is facts, so take it with a grain of salt. Let's start with the next 3 months. Pretty close, but you know, we've got some time for breathing space, shall we say. The Battle Royale genre as we know it is about to get a lot more competitive. Fortnite has had its time to shine, but now the big dogs are in to take a slice of the pie. Call of Duty's Blackout Beta was a huge hit with millions of downloads and new gameplay additions which we've never seen in any Battle Royale game before, which makes it a strong competitor to Fortnite. The only problem here is that it is not free. In fact, you have to buy a Call of Duty Black Ops 4 at $50 just to get access to Blackout. A lot of players can't afford to pitch out that kind of money, especially with popular games such as Fallout 76, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Pokemon on Switch coming out at the same time. Forking out for Black Ops 4 just for Blackout simply isn't going to happen for some players. If they made Blackout free and created in-game cosmetic purchases, I feel as if they'd have a lot more players and most likely a lot more success in regards to long-term players. But hey, the deed is done.
Nice shot, brother. There's no way he loses. There's no way.
You gotta be kidding me! No!
Battlefield 5 is also moving on to the Battleground with their Firestorm mode, and I have high hopes for this one, but EA really needs to learn not to be greedy and use some of Battlefield's most unique features to their advantage. For example, airborne vehicles and huge destruction events that change sections of the map, like avalanches, skyscrapers falling, and even water dams being broken. These are the moments that will make or break the competition, separating the men from the boys. Fortnite has building, COD has zombies, Battlefield has vehicular warfare. You feel me? They need to play their strengths or they'll be binned in just the span of a couple of months.
Hello, old friend.
And this leads me on to what I think will happen over the next 6 months. Put simply, updates, events, and free content. One of the major players in Battle Royale is the consistency to provide their gamers with new content on a regular basis. It's a lot of work for developers, but it's a must. This genre is so fast paced, anyone that lacks to update their game with new things to do will start seeing a decrease in player numbers, guaranteed. I'm not talking monthly updates here, I'm talking weekly, even daily changes is what will make the game shine. Look at Fortnite for example, weekly updates, new additions to the map and more is what keep players logging in. And then look at Pubg. They didn't do this as often and decided to work on new maps instead of evolving their current one. And well, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't touched Pubg in weeks. Sorry, but it's true. In the next 6 months, these games will have to evolve. Add new temporary events for real life moments such as New Year, Easter, they're kind of doing that now, but if you want to go into more depth, you can do even more frequent and exclusive events. For example, if it's a player's birthday, add a section of the map which allows only birthday players to access. Small things, but it makes a big difference. Another example which didn't really work out, take a look at Overwatch. A great game that I've put hundreds of hours into, but the maps stayed the same. They got boring and it became less of a challenge as I knew every corner of the map. And even now, 2 years on, Blizzard are still using the Halloween events that they used when they first launched in 2016. Updates are becoming a necessity for a game's lifespan. This is the old way of gaming. Developers will no longer launch a game and start lowering staff who work on it. If anything, it's going to be completely opposite, trying to evolve the game as much as possible and create new large revenue sources from in-game skins, unlockables, and other cosmetics.
Why do I feel like I need it? Why is it so ugly that I want it?
Whew, that was a lot to take in, but I honestly believe we're seeing a big change into the way games are being developed. The ones that constantly update and adapt are the ones that will survive the longest. But let's look further ahead. What about next year, I hear you ask? This is where things start to get a little crazy, because just over a year ago, Fortnite Battle Royale didn't exist. And now look at it. It's everywhere. Hell, kids are even dressing up as characters from the game for Halloween. It's absolutely bonkers. Could we see a new Fortnite on the block in a year? Blizzard, man, I'm looking at you, you can do it. I doubt it, but it's a possibility. Other games as well, not just shoot 'em ups, will start adapting the Battle Royale mode. Racing games, platformers, even boat games. Oh wait, that already exists. Battle Royale modes will become so popular that I expect AAA games will start to develop Battle Royale games that they can sell individually alongside their main single player games. For example, the next Call of Duty will not have a Battle Royale mode, but they'll have a whole purchasable game alongside it that you can buy just for Battle Royale players, which will come with a ton of bonuses. This will increase their profits and allow players to choose what they want to buy. This comes back to my problem of a lot of players not buying Black Ops 4 because it's so expensive just for the purchase of Blackout. I also expect other large developers such as Bethesda, Blizzard and more to get involved in Battle Royale, perhaps new games or giant updates to previous ones. Take a look at Rockstar for example. They've added a 32-player Battle Royale mode to Red Dead Online called Make It Count.
Gentlemen, this is a robbery. Sons of Dutch.
There's no chance that they had this idea when they started production, but they adapted, saw what was popular, and took their chances by adding this new and most likely highly enjoyable game mode. Cowboys in a Battle Royale game? Hell yeah. Now moving away from the games themselves and looking towards eSports, we'll start to see huge growth in players watching live streams and online events. In just a year, Twitch has seen a 70% rise in viewers, and this was largely due to the success of Battle Royale games being watched. Streamers will start to become celebrities. Look at Ninja for example, barely known a year ago, now he's the first ever gaming superstar to be featured on the cover of ESPN and a stream with the likes of Drake. Just think about that for a second. 20 years ago, you'd be called a nerd for playing video games too much, or your mother would tell you to do something with your life. Now, if you're good at a game, you can quite literally become a millionaire celebrity, making more money than your mother could even think of. Take that, mama. And finally, looking further into the future of Battle Royale mode, I can see a lot of things happening over the next few years. All of them promising for the gaming industry. Esports again will be bigger than ever. I'd even go as far as saying some esports events will be viewed more than some top level sporting events like NBA, Champions League and even the NFL. Gaming expos like E3 will start doing stadium takeovers with 100 players streaming in the middle and thousands of people watching live. In that space, Battle Royale modes would have completely changed, featuring daily, even hourly updates, for example, weather changes that can cause environmental impacts such as landslide, tornadoes, and frozen lakes that unlocks new sections of the map. And one thing I really want them to bring in is custom player-made skins for your character and weapons that you can sell for in-game currency. A bit like Forza does, or Counter-Strike does with its marketplace, allowing gamers to earn a small commission on each skin sale. Storylines and campaigns will become a frequent occurrence in Battle Royale. This is one aspect that has made Fortnite so popular. They basically created a story with each new update, which in turn makes the player feel like they are a part of the evolution, all while growing relationships with certain characters and the game in general. You're probably thinking, a campaign in Battle Royale, isn't that impossible? It's doable, but because it's such a new thing to do and not many have even thought of doing it, it will need some researching and TLC. I'd also really like to see game developers providing small crossover between the games. Perhaps character skins from Fortnite gets dropped into Battlefield, or if that's not achievable, some cheeky Easter eggs for players to find that are from completely different Battle Royale games. A bit like what Guerrilla Games did with Capcom, where you could unlock an Aloy skin from Horizon Zero Dawn in Monster Hunter. This was such a cool thing to do, and it shows players that developers may be competing with each other for sales, but in reality they are all passionate about what they do and they're all in the same boat together. So sharing the love really goes a long way in my eyes, and I think we'll see more of these virtual handshakes in the future. And And finally, if you thought 100 players was enough, think again. The future of Battle Royale will bring bigger maps that can hold more players. Take a look at Maverick Proving Grounds for example. It's launching in 2019 and will feature up to 400 players in one game, all fighting to be the last man standing. So give it a few years and we'll highly likely be seeing 1,000 player matches across miles of terrain in order to win. The tech behind this is outstanding, and with a little work we could see it being able to power some of the biggest multiplayer matches ever. Imagine watching that live. 400 players in a stadium, you've got a ticket. Boom, my head just exploded. I could go on and on about the future of Battle Royale for ages, and these are just a few things I think we'll see in the coming years, with Battle Royale playing a huge part alongside the boom of eSports, streaming and live gaming events. This is just the beginning, and I can't wait to watch the evolution of this genre explode.